Hi, my name is Grace Kemp from www.scriptureseries.com. Thank you for joining us today as we talk about the incredible crossing of the Red Sea. If you look at most Bible maps and try to trace the journey of the children of Israel from Egypt on their way to Canaan, you'll see that they appear to have crossed at the Gulf of Suez near Egypt, traveled down the western shore of the Sinai Peninsula, arrived at Jabal Musa, the supposed mountain of God, or Sinai, before traveling to Kadesh Barnea and eventually back to the land of, or not eventually because I haven't been there, but back to the land of Canaan. The fact is, due to the satellite photography and the research of the late Ron Wyatt and many others, we conclude today that they crossed in the Gulf of Aqaba from Nuweiba Beach. That Moses led the 2 million children of Israel out of Egypt April the 14th, 1446 BC, crossed out of Egypt that self-same day, it says, took stock when they got to a big military base called Tharu, likely, right near Succoth, and then he traveled 150 miles to Etham on the eastern side of the Sinai Peninsula. At that point, God instructed him to go south, surprisingly, because the land of Canaan was north. However, in obedience to God, Moses took the children of Israel south from Etham to Migdol. He gave them three landmarks: Migdol, Pi-hahiroth, and Baal-zephon. And we pretty much know where they are today. It appears that Migdol is a lookout tower at the entrance to the Wadi Watir. The Wadi Watir is an 18-mile gully. It's actually a dry riverbed, but in the rainy season there's deluges of water washing down these wadis and carrying sand. Hence was formed the enormous Nuweiba Beach on the Gulf of Aqaba. The wadi brought sand down for millennia, dumped a lot of the sand in the Gulf, forming an underwater path, and then formed this 3-mile by 3-mile beach visible from satellites. They traveled through the Wadi Watir, arriving at Nuweiba Beach, on which is the old Egyptian fortress called Pi-hahiroth, which means mouth of the gorges, well named. Across the Aqaba, where the underwater path emerges, is what appears to be an ancient shrine, idolatrous shrine to Baal-zephon, Baal, Lord of the North. So those are the mile markers, or the landmarks. When they arrived on Nuweiba Beach, the Egyptian army, whom Josephus said consisted of 251,000 soldiers. God brought the pillar of cloud and put it at the back of the children of Israel and in the faces of the Egyptians, so they couldn't see their prey. They could not see the children of Israel. And it was dark on the Egyptian side and bright on the Israeli side. And during that night, God opened the sea and miraculously led the Jews through a path that we're going to talk about in our next segment, which is absolutely fascinating. Now you can imagine that the Egyptians on the dark side were anticipating finishing off these pesky Jews as soon as they could see them, probably when the cloud moved. They planned, they were sure they had them trapped. This kind of reminds us of the resurrection of Christ. While Christ was in the grave, Satan was having a party. He was celebrating the victory of Christ's death. However, on Easter Sunday, Christ rose from the dead, bringing with him captivity captive from paradise, or Abraham's bosom. The Old Testament saints didn't go to heaven. They went into a place called Sheol, or Abraham's bosom. But at the resurrection, Christ descended into Sheol, leading captivity captive, ascended to heaven with his entourage, and made a show of them openly. So tomorrow's, or next segment, not necessarily tomorrow's, but their next segment, will tell us how they escaped miraculously through the Red Sea. And I can guarantee you there will be a lot of things you've never heard of. The amount of water that was displaced, the tsunami, the Leviathan. Please come back for our next segment. God bless you.